Hi friends, welcome back. So could Supermicro ticker symbol SMCI go bankrupt? That's the subject of today's video, and unfortunately they got some really bad news. I want to go over this stuff because I know a lot of people are stuck in this thing. Let me hear the headlines here. Supermicro may face 1.7 billion bond repayment if delisted. I don't actually know if they have the cash on hand. As you know, their books are in question. Their auditor left them and they're looking for another. And that's essentially what the CEO is. Hey, we're looking for someone. Please help us and bring some legitimacy. JP Morgan's already downgraded them, saying we don't trust these people.
So for all those reasons, I don't think it's too late to buy SMCI stock. I would average in over time, especially if we see more days where the stock drops by 20% or more. I've been holding Nvidia stock since 2016, and I know I'd seriously regret it if I stopped building my position after the stock had tripled. I think the same will be true for Supermicro over the long term, and this is why it's so important to understand the science behind the stocks. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is ticker symbol U.
Supermicro could face an early repayment up to 1.72 billion. So we're talking about quite a lot of money of its bond should accounting woes result in being booted off the NASDAQ. So if it gets booted off the NASDAQ, it's got to pay a bunch of cash. Holders of Supermicro's 1.72 billion March 2029 convertible notes have the option, right? So they don't have to take the money if they don't want to, but the people who are holders of these things have the option of getting their money back early if the company is delisted. And that's according to, I guess, the rules of the bond. So this is where it becomes really dicey. It's not just the delisting itself. This is the new news. They got this bond thing that forces them to pay back a whole bunch of money. And chances are, once one person wants their money back, then everyone's like, well, they want their money back. I want my money back, because there's like a fight to get it before it's all gone. Also says here, a delisting seen as a real possibility after Supermicro missed an August deadline to file its annual financial report, right? Because remember, the auditor left and they're not filing when they should have. And its auditor resigned would constitute a spectacular fall from grace. Not great for them. Also says here, Supermicro declined to comment for this article, right? You ask them, please make a comment. I guess they didn't. Chief Financial Officer David Wagan told analysts on the call Tuesday that the company has, quote, this is coming again from the Supermicro, a long-term and good relationships with banks regarding its debt. That's what he's saying. They have good relationships with the banks regarding their debt. As necessary, we'll file extensions or get waivers. We're not concerned about the company's ability to access the capital markets. When you state it like that, I wonder if they would need to borrow yet more. Usually when you say access capital markets, it's like, are we, frozen from borrowing more money if we need to? But they're saying they're not concerned. So I'm just telling you what it is. But remember, Ernst & Young did quit being their auditor. So the main thing is they got to find an auditor, and that's why I'm going through this stuff. But this whole bond thing it could be a real problem for them. The possibility of delisting rose after its auditor resigned, right? We also have here, underscoring early enthusiasm for the company, the bonds sold in February were with a 0% coupon, meaning the company pays no interest. Interesting. So I don't think there's really any advantage for not getting your money back. Like holding the bond, you're not getting any return, 0% coupon. I think people are just going to want their money. That's, I mean, I'm just telling you what it is. So it says here, it's a throwback to the pandemic era tech craze when the host highly hyped companies such as Peloton and Snap sold similar interest-free notes. Interesting. The documentation under which Supermicro bonds were sold states that would a cancellation and payment of bonds, assuming the shares are delisted from NASDAQ, are not immediately relisted, retraded, or requoted. Okay. Boy, this sounds really bad, very frank. Supermicro has been reworking some of its other debt. Okay, so it has other debts out there. Last week, it prepaid and terminated, so it's trying to clean up its financial stuff, a $500 million term loan, a facility inked in July with Bank of America. It also adjusted a loan with Cathay Bank to extend a deadline to deliver audited financials till the end of the year, which added a rule that Supermicro must keep 150 million of unrestricted cash on hand. Interesting. So the bank, this sounds like Bank of America wanted out of the deal. This, it says prepaid and terminated loan. So just close that deal. Cathay Bank was like, if you're going to stay in business with us, you got to keep 150 million cash on hand. That's interesting. And then if they get delisted, there could be a lot of the, essentially bondholders would be like, give us the money now. And that's again, 1.7 billion.
Overall, I didn't see a smoking gun in Hindenburg's short report that would make me sell my Supermicro stock, but I did see enough smoke to make me stop dollar cost averaging in until we get an official response. Let me know in the comments whether or not you're buying the dip on SMCI stock.
Doesn't sound good. This is coming from the CEO. So they're saying here, according to the CEO of Supermicro, we are actively in the process of engaging a new auditor. Quote, we are working with urgency to become current again with our financial report. So they're definitely behind. This is a report from JP Morgan, sort of what their thoughts on it. So they downgraded Supermicro to underweight from neutral, which is basically a sell rating, and saying it's worth $23. That's according to JP Morgan, down from 50. So I don't know what's trading today. Maybe it's 27 today or something like that. You guys can let me know. I think it's something in that nature, maybe mid-20s. It's been really, really volatile, though. This also is from JP Morgan. They say, the company last night issued a positive update in relation to the opinion of the special committee. Oh, okay, so there's some positives there. But, and there's a big but, JP Morgan expects more uncertainty around both the company's regulatory filings and business fundamentals, right? So when are you going to give us the documentation? And even if you do, right, is your business, like, do the numbers look good? Is it trading at a fair value or whatever? We know the stock ran up like crazy. I would not expect it to go back up to the peaks again anytime soon, given all this current situation. And you can watch my last videos on this stuff. For me, when I read through this stuff, it just feels like a mafia family kind of company. And I wish I were making this stuff up. That's what it sounds like. Again, this is coming from JP Morgan. The firm says Supermicro refrained from providing further transparency. So they're not giving us too many details. Again, from JP Morgan saying this. Their firm, Supermicro, refrained from providing further transparency around the issues leading to the disagreement with the prior auditor. So that was Ernst & Young, even as it reaffirmed the special committee opinion that the audit committee had acted independently and that there is no evidence of fraud or misconduct. So you're getting two different things, right? So the company says, no fraud or misconduct on our end, but yet why would Ernst & Young leave, right? So that's why there's a discrepancy there. But obviously the company's going to say we're innocent, that they didn't do it. Of course they're going to say that. This is more from JP Morgan. The company also offered limited commitments, okay, on leadership changes to address investor concerns and lack of certainty around the timing of an appointment of a new auditor. So basically what they're saying here is like, and this happened before, to where they, because they've had other fraud and accounting issues before. So this isn't the first one. That's why I want to make sure you understand this. They've had other issues before. So I just wouldn't mess with the company and all. That's my opinion. But before they fired a bunch of people, and then the people eventually came back. So, now to get any sort of confidence, you'd be like, you got to, remove your leadership and corrupt people. But, who knows? Because we already saw that. Like I said, they fired them before and then people came back. And then I guess until they change their leadership, maybe it'll be hard for anyone to think that they're credible. And remember, they don't have an auditor. So, for that, and this is again coming from JP Morgan, for anyone to trust these people, they probably need to get some sort of, trusted auditor. Who's it going to be? Who knows? Is it going to be anybody? Who knows? And their time is running short. Also says here, this is coming from JP Morgan, the firm reduced revenue growth expectations and believes the stock's discount to server companies is justified, give its greater uncertainty in the financials in the medium term. So, theoretically, buy the fear, this could be the buy of the century. I say theoretically. When I read through this stuff, I think the risks are very, very real on this one. So for something like this is highly speculative. That there's no way to know. I'm not there on site. I don't have any third-party trusted auditor to verify their numbers. And essentially, they have last I heard it was November 16th to file or whatever paperwork to not get delisted. And if they do, then they're essentially forced to pay back this 1.7 billion bond if the bondholders want that money immediately. So, and who knows with that, because it looks like, like I just told you, it was Bank of America and Cathay they're already making negotiations with. And then that's why it comes in the terms of where you say JP Morgan's, mentions that people want change of leadership, but they're not willing to do it. And then it goes back to, this is a mafia, in my opinion. I mean, I use the word mafia in terms of like, just that kind of relationship where it's like the sisters, the sister-in-law, brothers, moms and dads are, all running this thing. I mean, seriously, like a family business. So, and I don't mean that in a good way. So I said it's more like mafia kind of thing. So, it's pretty hard to trust. Now, according to this, they have And it's hard to know if these numbers are accurate, but according to this, they have about 2.1 billion cash on hand. So theoretically, they could pay that 1.7 billion that, you know, people are in demand for that bond thing, but we'll see. Also says here, I'll just read the thing here. It says the company had a 2.1 billion in cash or equivalents at the end of September. It said Tuesday. That increased cash pile gives it more options. It needs to reset debt agreements, right? So they got to figure out, you know, their financials. That's coming from Webbush is saying that. Still, the potential for this massive sum of debt to come due early, that's the 1.7 bond, certainly a risk. So, yeah, just be careful with this one, guys. And I'm sorry if, you know, whatever YouTubers out there told you it was awesome at the top. It clearly wasn't. And I think I think it looks bad. I'll just put it that way. So please share your thoughts on this one. For those of you who are in this thing, what do you think? And I'll catch you on the next video.